Hey everybody, happy Halloween. This is Jared. I'm just standing here at by far the most haunted place in Utah. This is the entrance to the Kays Cross, which now is sadly being developed. It looks like if you look behind me, you can see machinery and stuff. So it looks like a housing development, but I'm here to share some stories. I've got so many stories about this place that I could do a full series just on it alone, and I've got so many pictures and stuff. But for Halloween, I thought I would do a story about these pictures that I'm going to post. And when we first started coming down here, came down here with groups of friends in high school and stuff, and we had a fire pit and everything, and we would make bonfires down here and tell ghost stories and stuff. And the one thing about it is that every time, without fail, that you come down here, something weird or scary happens, and without fail. And so it was like a go-to, guaranteed, if you wanted to get scared. And so we had a fire pit down here, and it was really cool. It was just right down in the ravine down there, and so it was right near the Kay's Cross. And we would go down, like I said, and just have fun down there. And one night, we were taking pictures down by the fire, and some scary things started to appear on the camera. And so at first we didn't think anything of it, and then you'll see by the last picture that I posted on there, it was like, it looks like a demon, or you decide what it is. I'd never seen anything like it before. It could just be that the flames were manipulating the camera or whatever, but you'll have to see it. It's really cool. And we got out of there right after that. It was like this thing was right behind me in the picture, and as soon as that happened, we put out the fire and just ran out of there, scared as could be. And that was back in 2004 that this was taken. And so good times. I have a lot of really scary stories about, Halloween night. I remember coming down here once, and there was like this evil type wind or something that was blowing before you got down into the ravine and stuff, and just like an ominous feeling of something bad happened. And when we got down there, there was all these dead animals and stuff, and blood strewn all over, and I'll have to see if I can find the pictures of that. But we got out of there again after seeing that. We got out of there in a hurry. But those are the kind of stories that you don't forget. And I've never been a place where I've experienced more haunted energy and everything. This is still owned by the Kingston family. It was built by the Kingstons in about the early 1942, so it's been here a long time. And it was hauled, they hauled rock and concrete and masonry, and the crosses steel reinforced and everything, and they made it so that they could have this sacred grove down there. It was made by the polygamous leader Eldon Kingston, who the Kingston family owned a Davis County Co-op is what they called it, and that's where they had a farm here and everything. And so they owned a lot of property, and they still do. It's still in their hands to this day. I can't believe that they've sold it, and maybe they're just developing the orchards here that are all around it. But anyways, they used to have like sermons and stuff down here, and they had this really weird guy, Krishna, I can't remember his last name, Vishnu or something, that came out here, and they thought that he was like a messiah and stuff, and he would like try and heal people down there, and just really weird, bizarre stuff. And there's a lot of stories about there possibly being bodies, polygamous bodies and stuff, buried at the Kay's Cross. And there was a great big K in it. And in the 90s, there used to be a lot of like, Satan worshiping type stuff, and just lots of stuff going on down here, and it was finally blown up by someone put a pipe bomb on it and it blew it up, but it still lived on after being blown up. That was in 1993. And I remember hearing about it and that it had been destroyed and being disappointed. But what really happened is the middle section was blown out, and the top just basically toppled and everything. So it was, you could still see part of it. You know, it wasn't totally vaporized. It just, the middle section blew out. And they had a fire pit that was down at the bottom of it and everything. It was really cool, and there's some surviving pictures of what it looked like before it was blown up that you can see. And that this area that I'm standing behind right here is the orchards. And when I was a kid, there used to be like homeless people that were living in these orchards, and they would like get water from the reservoir down here, and they would eat like berries and stuff, and possibly like animal carcasses and everything. And so sometimes we would see them down here, and they would try and scare us and stuff. And so it was a really crazy place back then. You know, I haven't been there in many years, but there was a time when I lived up here in Kaysville that I was coming here, you know, almost every other night or something to get scared. And I lived within walking distance, so I could walk or ride my bike here. And so I've got a lot of stories to share and stuff, but I always remember going through this orchard, and you could just smell like the rotted fruit about this time and everything. And a lot of scary stories running through this orchard in the late 90s, early 2000s and stuff. I have a funny story about that. We used to be able to get in here through the Kaysville City graveyard, and one Halloween night we came down and we were chased by something, who knows what it was or whatever, and we ran all the way through we ran through it to get out. And when we went to the cemetery, we tried to climb the gate, and I remember that if you look behind me, you can see it. The gate at the cemetery looks almost exactly like this, with these spikes and stuff on here. And my friend was climbing over it and got poked, you know where, you know, right on the top of the fence and that. And we thought he was going to have to go to the hospital and everything. You know, it was just crazy. But that, now looking back on it, you know, we can laugh and everything. But at the time, it was not funny. But these are the types of funny type stories and stuff that went on down here. And there's a lot of energy that's trapped here, you know, from things that have happened here over the years and just from its beginnings and everything. And so I hope they don't tear it down. It's one of the most haunted places, if not the most haunted place I've ever been to. And I'll share some more stories. I even have pictures from before digital cameras, when when I had film and stuff, and I would take pictures, and I'm glad that I did, because all this is going to be developed, it looks like, and lost, and you know, and the ground will probably still be haunted. I wouldn't want to, well, I'd like a house down there, but I wouldn't want it on the site itself, you know, because it's still haunted, you know. And there's an old polygamist, ruins of an old polygamist house down here that's a short ways from the main polygamist house, and it had tunnels underneath it that you could go and check out, and those were put in, you know, so that they could run and hide. And we never did go to the end of it, but I think that it led to the farmhouse where people still actually live and stuff. But there was a rumor that there was a man that lived there and had, you know, like 3 wives, and that he ended up killing them and burning the house to the ground. Now, whether that's true or not, there's not really any information about it, but there is a charred old house foundation down there with tunnels and stuff that's still really cool. So there's a lot of, you know, urban legends and stuff. And there was also down there towards that area, I remember when I was a kid, there was this crazy looking trike. It had this great big front wheel on it, and then you know, it just looks like something out of a horror movie and stuff. And I remember One time, one of my friends was trying to write on it and broke it, you know, which was really disappointing. But that's what happened to it. But I just remember seeing this tricycle, and maybe I have a picture of it, and it just looked freaky. It had this huge front wheel, and it just looked really bizarre. And so let's keep having fun, guys. I know it's Halloween already. I hope that you're having a good time, and maybe I'll do a few more of these, even though it's after Halloween. I was just trying to get as many done as I could before Halloween, but I thought I'd end it with the best one, you know, and I'll post the pictures tonight, and maybe you'll have a good Halloween scare. And if anybody has any theories as to what they are or whatever, you know, you're free to post those, but it's not like anything I've seen or can explain, and so maybe you can. So let's check it out together. And happy Halloween, guys. I really hope you guys have had some fun this season, and it's a fun time of year, and one I always look forward to. And so more stories to come. I'm going to start making more stories about this, and going through some of the pictures and stuff. So look for more to come. Thanks, guys.